How much should we be helping ourselves? Do we ever take the time to make sure that we are treated as the priority in our own lives? I feel like oftentimes people stigmatize or, have a bad perspective when it comes to helping out themselves. I realize that we often don't treat ourselves like somebody we're responsible for taking care of or for helping. Like, we have a goal and we're pretty nonchalant about how we go about it, but if our friend or someone we cared about expressed that same type of passion, we'd you know, push them to take steps and push them to, keep working and working at it. But we don't hold ourselves to that like same standard, which is pretty interesting. I think that the separation of uh, yourself and yourself is something we should use to our advantage. If we can kind of separate ourselves from the situation, or like our ego from ourself, then we should be able to influence it to do things that are for the benefit of the whole. And I think that first starts with like viewing yourself as someone you are responsible for. And that goes for like pretty much everything. You know, I feel like we get so absorbed in our situations and circumstances that we fail to take any type of external perspective because we feel like we're unable to because we're within it. But if you view yourself as someone you're trying to help, like how would I help this person in this situation? But view yourself in that same regard, it's only gonna get easier. You, like I feel like that's when you can kind of separate your own ego, emotions, and stigmas away from the situation and truly analyze whether or not what you're doing or what you want to do is for you or would benefit you in the whole. And to benefit yourself in many ways, you have to know what you want and strive towards it. I've expressed before how I don't think that many people take the time to realize what they want or take the time to map out their goals or aspirations because I don't know, it feels like it's not worth it or whatever they may choose. But I'm coming to realize that, you know, if you don't sacrifice for your goal, the goal becomes a sacrifice. We need to push on for our goals. We only have so much limited time. I'm 18, 18 years out of maybe 100, you know, God willing. Um, so we have to do something with this time and space that we've been gifted with. Every second is beautiful, and I feel like we disregard the present moment so often, and like entrapments of the past and negativity within our future that may or may not happen, assumptions, overthinking, anxiety. We fail to see the beauty. Just because those things exist doesn't mean we can't acknowledge when things are good. The good doesn't disappear when the bad is, here. It's just behind the curtain of emotion. It's all here, present, and right now. Like, of all things, life should be regarded as something beautiful. To have, greed, corruption, anger, hate, violence, all in the presence of beauty and love, is truly a beautiful thing. And like I said, nothing gets displaced by the other. It's placed behind the curtain of our emotions, our perception. But it's always here. And that's why I think people say it's just really just a matter of perspective. Because everything exists right here and now. You exist right here and now. The you want to be exists right here and now. And all you have to do is, find that. Break some of the stigma that's keeping you confined within your past self and who you think yourself to be. I really think it is a beautiful experience in order to be the one who's responsible for yourself and take that responsibility wholeheartedly so as to allow yourself to move forward with your own support. I feel like with the constant craving of external validation, we find ourselves being lost in other people's perceptions. But if we ever find a way to truly give that to ourselves, I feel like there's nothing that can stop us. I know, like people like to feel the support of their community before they, do anything. And, they're not going to keep pushing towards it if it's not getting some type of validation from their community. And, or, not all cases. Some people are able to find that. But I feel like it's definitely a goal we should be striving for. You know, we're all like militant men in the garden, in a time of peace. We have nothing external to necessarily attack, so we start to critique and attack ourselves rather than, support and boost ourselves up. Like, if you really think about it, how much do you complain about yourself, and then how much do you acknowledge everything good about yourself? I guarantee you're complaining 90% more. 90% more than you're giving yourself credit, you know? And I feel like that creates some of our stigmas about ourselves, Constantly viewing the self as something that needs improvement isn't going to help you. It's gonna make you think that you're constantly in need of improvement. So you have to give yourself a little grace in a lot of things. Give yourself a moment to be appreciative of yourself. Like, treat yourself like your own friend. Treat yourself like your best friend. Like, when you're up, celebrate your ups. Give yourself a pat on the back, but be responsible. Like, don't do nothing crazy, but you're someone who needs it too. You have to give that to yourself before you expect anyone else to give it. How can you expect from others what you fail to give you to yourself? I feel like we do that very often. You know, we give others part of self which we have not, in expectation that we'll magically have it since we're trying to give it. That's why I feel like people should really take the time to figure out, what they want, who they are, or who they think themselves to be at the given moment. And that definition is so ambiguous. You can change who you are. Everybody is subject to change, and it's impossible to not. So I think that, it shouldn't be stigmatized. We should embrace, undergoing things that make us better and more well-rounded people. So, yeah. I guess the point is to help yourself, help yourself in helping yourself.